Experience a fascinating voyage through time as we unearth the terrifying narratives of the top 3 worst cave diving disasters in human history. In 1938, an unexpected discovery happened at Thompson's Paddock. A cave appeared on a farm near Allendale in Australia, south of Mount Gambier. It got the name The Shaft. Imagine horses grazing, and suddenly one finds a hole just 1 foot wide. That's how the shaft came to light. The hole needed widening for exploration. It expanded to 3.3 feet. Little did anyone know, this was an entrance to a vast underground cave. In the mid-1960s, a local diver explored this small hole. What did he find? A massive lake cave 56 feet deep. He dived deeper, reaching 69 feet. The main cavern stretched 460 feet long and 260 feet wide. Entering the shaft, you drop 23 feet below ground to hit the water. There's a rock pile right under the entrance. Curious about what else is inside? The shaft hides 2 tunnels. One heads east, 407 feet deep. The other goes northwest, 260 feet deep. Diving here is challenging. You need a lift system for you and your gear. Does this sound like your average cave dive? Exploration in 2002-2003 revealed more. The eastern tunnel had barriers at 187 feet, but it goes further to 407 feet. Beyond the barrier, the tunnel turns horizontal, blocked by another rock pile. Ever wonder what's beyond that? Now let's talk about a tragic dive. Why do you think they call it the shaft? It's the sunlight creating a sparkling shaft on sunny days. May 26, 1973. 9 divers decide to explore the shaft. Their names: Christine M. Millett, Glenn Millett, Stephen Millett, John H. Bockerman, Larry Reynolds, Gordon G. Roberts, Peter S. Burr, Joan Harper, and Robert J. Smith. Joan Harper chose to stay above, preparing hot soup and assisting the team. So, on May 27th, 8 divers plunged into the depths of the shaft. The team sets up a guideline from the cave's entrance, reaching 150 feet into the water. They arrive at a rock pile. It's a massive heap of limestone, 131 feet high, right under the cave's entrance. They circle the rock pile. Then, they head back up, following their guideline. What will they find on their final dive the next day? May 28, 1973. The 8 divers are ready. They've refilled their cylinders in Mount Gambier. Soon, they're at the rock pile they saw yesterday. What lies beyond this familiar landmark? They plan not to go past the edge, a downward slope in the main cavern. This area lacks natural light from the entrance. It's dark, filled with silt and limestone debris. Why is the rock pile the safety limit for recreational diving? Diving more profound risks of nitrogen narcosis, but without helium in their cylinders, it's a danger. Yet, the team breaks several safety rules. They need to extend their guideline further. They lack a staging tank for decompression. There needs to be a gas management plan. They don't even set diving buddies. Are they aware of the risks they're taking? Glenn Millett reflects on the danger of 8 guidelines in a narrow cave. Robert Smith, with 8 dives here, didn't expect such depths. He's surprised, especially for his teammates. How deep will they go? Robert feels nitrogen narcosis at the rock pile's base. It's common here, but gets stronger deeper in. His depth gauge shows 180 feet. Skilled and familiar with narcosis, Robert signals his return to the rock pile's top. The others want to dive deeper. What choice will they make? Robert waits at the rock pile. Soon, Glenn appears from the passage. He's been monitoring his air level. It's time to head back. He sees Christine and tries to reach her, but she swims away. Robert and Glenn ascend together. Larry surfaces first. In a moment, Peter follows with an empty tank. Glenn knows the rest are out of air. He grabs a spare tank and dives back in. Glenn discovers Steven's torch and camera. At 225 feet, visibility is almost zero. The area is silted out. He can't go further and returns. An ambulance waits above. Did they arrive in time? Peter re-enters the cave. He hopes to find the others, but it's futile. They all realize the remaining divers might not survive. What happened to them down there? Robert and Larry spot Christine and Gordon. They're trying to escape upwards, running out of air. They end up in a dome with no exit. It's the last time they're seen. John, deeply affected by nitrogen narcosis, dives deeper. On May 29, 1973, the police underwater recovery team arrived. They dive to 200 feet, but can't find the bodies. The search limits are reached. The search resumes on May 30. It's unsuccessful again. The police need more training. Skilled naval officers will train them for months. When will they return to search? January 22, 1974. A TV film crew dives into the area. They reach 50 feet with powerful lights. The cave lights up like day. One crew member sees a third figure behind two divers. It's a body in a wetsuit. They surface and report the sighting. Early the following day, police divers arrive. They dive to the reported depth. At 50 feet, they find a body. It's Stephen Millett, identified by dental records. Remember his torch and camera found earlier? The police dive to 180 feet, but find no one else. What will they do next? March 9, 1974 brings a new dive. This time, they have better gear. Will it help? RG Trainer spots a body at 185 feet. To his surprise, there are two bodies, one on top of the other. It turns out to be Christine and Gordon. The last time anyone saw them, they were diving together. They seem to have clung to each other in their final moments. Just 20 feet away, Trainer sees another body under a rock ledge. It's John Bockerman. Trainer's air runs low. He can't recover the bodies as planned. He has to surface. March 10, 1974. Divers return, but can't recover the bodies due to murky waters. They pause the operation. Will they succeed the next day? Finally, on March 11, Christine and Gordon's bodies are recovered. But the divers feel the effects of nitrogen narcosis. They must stop the dive. John Bockerman's body remains in the cave. The divers take a month off. They need to recover and train for the last recovery in the shaft. What's their plan for the final operation? They start with guidelines to locate the body. The second day is for rest, avoiding nitrogen narcosis. On the third day, they dive again. They experience narcosis symptoms, but press on. Advanced equipment and careful planning paid off. They finally recovered John H. Bockerman's body on April 9, 1974. He had been in the cave for 11 months and 11 days since the accident. Can you imagine the relief and sorrow of this moment? Having explored the depths of the shaft, let's now venture into another cave diving tragedy that unfolded more recently. On May 14, 2022, an exciting event unfolds. 4 certified divers head to Manatee Springs State Park. Their goal? To explore the park's extensive cave system, but they face a challenge. Without proper knowledge of the caves, they make some risky choices. Let's talk about Manatee Springs State Park in Levy County, Florida. It's a natural wonder, flowing into the Suwannee River. This park is famous for its sinkholes and caves. One highlight is the 90-foot deep underground cave. It connects to a spot known as the Catfish Hotel. This cave is one of 3 significant sinkholes at the park. Have you ever thought about diving into an open water sinkhole? This is your chance. The second key spot is Sioux Sink. It's mainly an emergency exit located at a campsite. The third is Freedman Sink. It's smaller, leading into the cave's ceiling. This sinkhole is the farthest from the Catfish Hotel, 1,712 feet away. Are you an outdoor enthusiast? Manatee Springs State Park is perfect for you. It offers boating, camping, bicycling, and more. You can also see wildlife like manatees, for which the park is named. The park is also home to bass, catfish, and various trees. Picture yourself surrounded by cypress, maple, and sweet gum trees. Now, back to our divers. They are 2 fathers and their sons. Their plan? To start at Freedman's Sinkhole and end at the Catfish Hotel. They're new to this cave system and rely on a video for guidance. Each diver is well equipped. They have HP 100 side-mounted cylinders and multiple lights. Ready for the underwater journey, they dive into the unknown. What will they discover in the depths of Manatee Springs? Would you dare to explore these underwater caves? The 4 divers enter the cave at 11:17 a.m. with a guideline and swim upstream. They split into 2 teams, sons in the first, fathers in the second. Fathers follow sons. As they approach Catfish Hotel, the darkness obscures their location, leading to uncertainty. Diver 1, one of the sons, ventures away to explore if there's better visibility, but to no avail. He returns to the group, communicating their predicament with a wet note. Manatee? You might be wondering what it means. It recalls a prior incident at Manatee Spring. They backtrack towards Sioux Sink, unsure of their current whereabouts. Speculating they may have mistaken Catfish Hotel for Sioux Sink, the nearest known exit, they recognize the teams into father-son pairs. Diver 2 notices his air pressure dropping to 3,100 psi, prompting him to switch off his video light and swim against the strong current. Struggling against the flow, Diver 2 perseveres. As they near Sioux Sink, Diver 2 becomes anxious about his own escape and starts pulling himself hand over hand while keeping his head down. Upon reaching the Sioux Sink upline, he spots Diver 1 ascending. Diver 2 checks for the other 2 divers and observes Diver 3 leading the dive, with Diver 4 trailing behind by about 10 to 20 feet or 3 to 6 meters. Diver 2 signals to them and they both respond. Divers 1 and 2 successfully exit the cave system. Diver 1 emerged at approximately 12 o'clock, 43 minutes after they entered, with 1,500 psi remaining in both cylinders. Diver 2 exits at 12:05, still having 1,500 psi in one cylinder and 850 psi in the second. Concerned about Divers 3 and 4, who haven't surfaced, Diver 2 places an emergency call to 911. Instead of following the upline, Divers 3 and 4 inadvertently veer off and continue toward Friedman's Sink. In an effort to speed up the ascent, Diver 4 urges his son, Diver 3, to dive faster. A father's anxious whispers echo in the silent depths. I've been there. When Diver 3 reaches a hill just before the upline T at Friedman's Sink, he glances back and notices Diver 4's video light. Assuming Diver 4 is following, he completes his ascent and exits Friedman's Sink at approximately 12:20, having 1,500 psi in one cylinder, while the second cylinder is empty. Unfortunately, Diver 4 does not emerge from the cave. The last recorded movements on his computer are time-stamped at 12:17. Some experienced divers arrive at the scene around 12:50, entering the cave system at Catfish Hotel to search for Diver 4. They proceed downstream toward Friedman's Sink and discover his camera and light on the cave floor, approximately 100 feet or 30 meters downstream of Friedman's Sink. The International Underwater Cave Rescue and Recovery (IUCRR) team steps in. It's a 2-person team. They dive deep into the cave. I know what you're thinking. Any hope? They find Diver 4's body. It's in a dome 100 feet downstream of Friedman's Sink. This is where the first rescue team saw his camera and light. Diver 4's air is gone. Both cylinders are empty. The investigation reveals multiple causes for the tragedy. The team made several wrong decisions. They didn't know the Manatee Springs cave system. The strong currents made things worse. Their choice to explore an unknown system upstream was risky. Why not enter through Catfish and swim downstream first? This way, they would know the flow and distance for an upstream journey. But there's more to the story. The team didn't use a safety spool to find more transparent water. Just 10 to 15 feet away was the zone of visibility near Catfish. Diver 4's decision to use a video light also played a part. The light closed his eyes to the natural visibility at Sioux Sink. Diver 3 mistook the light for Diver 4, following him to Friedman's Sink, but he wasn't. Teamwork was another issue. At Sioux Sink, Diver 2 signaled to Divers 3 and 4. Why didn't he wait for them? They could have followed him to safety. Then, Diver 3 sees Diver 4's light near Friedman's Sink, but he doesn't wait. Could Diver 3 have shared air with Diver 4? Maybe, but with little gas left, Diver 3 might have feared risking 2 lives. It's a mystery. These divers were known for being safety conscious. How did they end up in such a dangerous situation? It's a question that haunts the diving community. Our journey through Manatee Springs State Park reveals the dangers of underwater caves. Now, we delve into a chilling event in the icy waters of Plura Cave. Plura Cave in Norway attracts many skilled cave divers. Its freezing waters offer breathtaking views. But did you know about the tragic event in 2014 involving 5 Finnish divers? Keep watching to discover their fate. On February 6, 2014, a daring plan unfolded. 5 divers aimed to conquer the Plura Cave system. They are Kai Kankanen, 46, Patrick Gronqvist, 42, Jari Hutanen, 40, Vesa Rantanen, 33, and Yadi Yu, 34. Each holds a CCR full cave dive certification. 4, except Yadi Yu, have previous experience in Plura Cave. Yadi Yu's background includes dives in Finnish quarries and caves. What challenges will they face in these depths? Their mission is ambitious. They plan to dive from a Plura Cave pond covering 6,680 feet to the Steinugoflaget Cave. The cave lies in Rana, Norway, plunging at least 443 feet deep. It's the deepest cave in northern Europe. Its formation comes from the Plura River flowing over limestone. But can they handle the icy waters and maze-like passages? The morning of February 6 is a start of determination. Kai, Vesa, and Yadi Yu form one group. Patrick, Yadi Hutanen make up the other. The latter pair starts by cutting ice holes at the entrance. Meanwhile, the trio heads to Steinugoflaget Cave with their gear. The cave's chilly secret waits below. Patrick and Yadi Hutanen dive first. They use an underwater scooter for speed and energy conservation. They plunge through the ice hole into 2 degrees Celsius water, crystal clear yet unforgiving. What lies ahead in the cave's silent, frosty embrace? The second group waits for 2 hours. They want to ensure the water settles after the first group's dive. As they wait, Patrick and Yadi continue their underwater journey. They use an underwater scooter. Both have closed-circuit rebreathers, CCR, and backup gear. The CCR recycles exhaled oxygen. This extends their dive time. They also carry extra refrigeration systems and open-circuit gas cylinders. What if their primary equipment fails? Kai, Vesa, and Yadi Yu start their dive after the wait. They follow the same route as the first group. Patrick and Yadi are nearing the cave's deepest point at 427 feet. They stop to appreciate the cave's grandeur. It's Yadi's first time here. He tries to talk to Patrick, but his voice is lost under the mouthpiece. The duo is closer to Steinugoflaget Cave than the pond they started from. Patrick switches to his backup rebreather. He takes the lead, navigating a tight passage. After the ascent, he can't see Yadi's light. He waits. Soon, he sees Yadi's light flickering. It's a distress signal. Yadi needs help. Patrick moves towards him. In the narrow cave, they face each other. Patrick has to remove a large bailout cylinder and his scooter. Yadi's request creates a tight space. What will happen next? Reaching Yadi, Patrick sees the problem. Yadi's scooter line is trapped under a rock. Yadi forcefully frees it. Patrick steps aside to let Yadi pass, but Yadi needs open-circuit bailout gas. Patrick realizes the severity of Yadi's distress. They're 364 feet below the surface. Yadi uses the open-circuit gas and then returns to his rebreather. He repeats this 3 times. Suddenly, Yadi's mouth is empty again. Patrick helps him. He puts a regulator in Yadi's mouth and presses the purge button. Will they manage to navigate these challenges and make it back? The regulator's purge button blasts air for cleaning. No need for breath. Patrick tries to help Yadi, but the plan backfires. Yadi inhales water and tragically passes away. Imagine the shock and fear. Patrick clings to a rock, trying to steady himself. His heart races at the sight of his friend, now lifeless. Even as a rescue diver, seeing a dead friend is haunting. Patrick knows he must stay calm. Panic can be deadly in cave diving. He faces a dilemma. Yadi's body blocks the passage back. Patrick can't alert the second group about the tragedy. Also, a quick decompression exit is risky. It could cause decompression sickness, a life-threatening situation. The dive planned for 5 hours now stretches to 8 or 9. Patrick's oxygen supply is low. He gave some to Yadi. What's his next move? Patrick decides to continue towards Steinugoflaget Cave. His goal is to exit before running out of gas. What will the others think when they find Yadi? Will they all make it out safely? Patrick's mind races with these thoughts. The fear of being the sole survivor looms over him. Remember, panic is a diver's worst enemy. Unable to return and warn his friends, Patrick is stuck. Yadi's body blocks the passage. A quick escape poses the risk of decompression sickness. The dive, meant to last 5 hours, now threatens to consume more time. Patrick's resources need to grow. He had shared his bailout supplies with Yadi. How will he manage with limited oxygen? Patrick finds no other option but to continue his dive toward the Plura Cave. He's racing against his dwindling gas supply. As he navigates the underwater labyrinth, his mind is consumed with thoughts of his friends. How will they react upon discovering Yadi's body? The prospect of being the sole survivor weighs heavily on him. What would they think when they see the grim scene? Meanwhile, the second group, led by Vesa, needs to be made aware of the unfolding tragedy. Vesa, equipped with the video camera on his diving scooter, leads Kai and Yadi Yu. They all carry enough bailout cylinders. Still, Vesa, determined to be overly prepared, has 5 large cylinders. His friends had cautioned him about the bulkiness and risk in the cave's constricted passages. Yet, Vesa needed to heed their advice. Sensing potential trouble, Kai decides to assist with one of the cylinders. At a depth of 410 feet, Vesa encounters his first obstacle. He's stuck in a tight spot. To move forward, he sheds 2 of his cylinders. The situation becomes more dire when his fin is entangled with the guideline. Panic sets in. He calls out to Yadi Yu for help. Imagine the tension as they struggle in the narrow passageway. Once free, Vesa realizes the delay has extended his dive time significantly. This means facing multiple decompression stops in the frigid water, a situation he dreads. Undeterred, he pushes on into the cave's deepest reaches. Then, he comes upon Yadi's lifeless body. He steels himself, avoiding a direct gaze, and maneuvers around the obstacle. The cave's silence is now a stark reminder of their difficult situation. Suddenly, Yadi Yu approaches, his movements erratic. Vesa informs him about Yadi H's demise, trying to find a path forward. Kai, trailing at a distance, notices the change in Yadi Yu's demeanor. He approaches, asking what's wrong. Yadi Yu's response must be more precise, adding to the confusion. It becomes apparent that Yadi Yu is deeply affected, possibly by the sight of Yadi H's body. In shock, he abandons his closed-circuit rebreather for his bailout system. Kai, trying to maintain some semblance of control, advises Yadi Yu to remain calm and ensure his equipment functions properly. Kai is unsure of the problem, but suspects it's not an equipment malfunction. How will they navigate this unexpected and harrowing turn of events? Yadi Yu's sudden demise adds to the unfolding tragedy in the cave's depths. Kai, facing this heart-wrenching scene, realizes he has no choice but to press on. He can't do anything for Yadi Yu. Imagine the helplessness he feels. As he moves past Yadi Yu's body, he stumbles upon Yadi H's remains. Vasa is there, fighting to navigate around Yadi's body. Kai yells out the grim news about Yadi Yu, suggesting they retreat. But Vasa, considering the long trek back to the pond entrance, decides against it. Kai, unable to wait for Vasa and fearing for his safety, turns back alone. Given his panic and exhaustion, he doubts Vasa can endure the challenging return. Kai is also tormented by uncertainty about Patrick's fate. Is he still alive, or is he another casualty of this dreadful dive? He fears that he might be the only survivor. As Kai embarks on his solitary return, his situation is dire. He has 2 rebreathers, but his air supply is critically low. One of his cylinders, suitable only for deep diving, is useless for his ascent. Faced with a perilous decision, Kai opts for a rapid ascent, disregarding his dive computer's multiple decompression stop warnings. The risk of running out of gas looms more significant than the threat of decompression sickness. Upon reaching the air chamber, just 98 feet from the entrance, Kai breathes desperately. He uses the chamber's air, conserving what little he has left, but he can't linger. How long could he survive in this chamber, isolated and without rescue? The thought of spending days there, potentially in peril, forces him to move on. His already precarious situation worsens as his underwater scooter breaks down. Now, without the aid of his scooter, Kai's journey becomes a grueling test of endurance. He must manually navigate to the cave's entrance. This leg of the trip, which would have taken a mere 15 minutes with the scooter, now drags on for an excruciating 45 minutes. Every minute is a battle against fatigue and dwindling air supply. Meanwhile, Patrick is engulfed in despair in a separate part of the cave. He's going towards Steinaglflogget Cave's entrance, oblivious to the fate that has befallen his friends. The weight of the unknown bears heavily on him. Thoughts of his family pierce through the darkness. What will become of them? What has become of his diving companions? With its silent, oppressive depths, the cave offers no answers, only echoing the magnitude of their catastrophe. As Patrick navigates through the murky waters, his mind races with scenarios of what might have transpired with the others. The uncertainty amplifies his fear. Did they encounter the same fate as his deceased buddy? The lack of information adds to his emotional turmoil. He's haunted by the thought of returning alone, the sole survivor of this disastrous expedition. Back with Kai, his struggle to reach the cave entrance continues. A mix of adrenaline and dread fuels every stroke through the water. His physical exhaustion battles with his mental resolve. The silence of the cave is broken only by his labored breathing and the sound of his movements. The journey feels endless, each minute stretching into eternity. How much longer can he endure? The cave, once a magnificent underwater realm, now feels like a labyrinth of despair. For Kai, every turn and narrow passage is a reminder of the peril they underestimated. The grim reality of their situation overshadows the cave's beauty. The thrill of exploration has turned into a fight for survival. Patrick, equally engulfed in his battle, presses on. The thought of his family gives him a flicker of hope amidst the overwhelming darkness. He clings to the possibility of seeing them again, using it as a beacon to guide him through the treacherous cave. The cold, unyielding walls around him seem to close in, but he pushes forward, driven by the thought of home. What drives him to venture alone into the chilly, pitch-black waters so late at night? He clings to jagged rocks, persisting with his dive. The battery on his scooter is dwindling, forcing a tough decision: warmth or light. He can't have both. Patrick has no clue that Vista lurks behind him, diligently observing the decompression stop. None of them believed anyone would survive. During his decompression stop, Vasa remains close to the guideline, sometimes resting on the cave's floor. Fortunately, his new undersuit has enough argon to maintain his body heat. But this story has a twist, and I'll reveal it in just a moment. On his ascent through the same cave entrance they entered, Kai takes a few decompression stops, but skips many. He even drops some of his equipment. The cold seeps in with each stop, prompting him to swim to maintain warmth. Guilt gnaws at him for not aiding his friend Yadi Yu. Patrick, too, ponders the fate of his companions, but has no one to provide answers. Several hours later, he cautiously turns the valve of his last oxygen tank. Unaware of how much remains, the three divers reach the entrance. They exceeded their planned time underwater, depleting their air and strength. They reluctantly bypass many crucial decompression stops to save time and conserve air. But little did they know, there was a danger lurking in the depths. As Patrick continues his descent toward the Steinaglflogget cave entrance, a light materializes below him during his ascent. He quickly realizes it's Vasa following him. Vasa shares that the others have abandoned the dive and turned back. The uncertainty and peril of their situation weigh heavily on them all. Patrick felt relief, continuing his journey out of the cave. It's around 9 in the evening when he reaches the surface. He spent over 8 hours instead of the planned 5. He awaits in the Steinaglflogget cave, looking for Vasa to emerge from the same entrance. After about an hour, Vasa surfaces, complaining of headaches and knee aches, mistaking them for decompression sickness. They sit down to rest, waiting for Kai. 3 hours pass. Kai surfaces from the other entrance, breaking through thin ice. It's 1:30 a.m. on February 7, 2014. He dived for over 11 hours from February 6th into the next day. Kai finds no one around. Everything's still dark. He enters the van, starts the engine, and turns on the light. Patrick and Vasa change into dry clothes at Plura Cave and head to Yarbrew Farm. While waiting, they alert Norwegian authorities and spot van lights around 2 a.m. They rush to the truck to see who's inside. Inside the van, Kai thinks they're locals and tells them he'll never swim again. He never thought Patrick and Vasa made it out. News spreads about 2 Finnish divers presumed dead in Plura Cave. Police investigate with Kai, Patrick, and Vasa. Vasa is taken to a decompression chamber in Bergen, Norway. Local authorities summon 3 British divers to recover the bodies. They enter through the Plura entrance but can't retrieve the bodies due to the risk. The cave is closed and banned. Patrick, Kai, and Vasa, distraught, decide to recover their friends' bodies since they know the cave better. Despite the official ban, they begin planning their recovery operation. Let me simplify how they prepared for the daunting task. Patrick reaches out to his diving friends for assistance. Together, they form a team and extensively train for the difficult task ahead. The team meticulously studies the cave's layout, gathers specialized equipment, and devises strategies to overcome challenges. After weeks of preparation, they're fully prepared to implement their plan. Entering through the Plura entrance, they navigate through tight passages, following the guidelines set by Patrick and his friends. Despite the daunting conditions and constant reminders of the tragedy, their determination keeps them going. They encounter challenges such as strong currents, limited visibility, and the emotional weight of the situation. Their thorough training and teamwork prove invaluable as they reach the location of Yachty H and Yachty U's bodies. They recover the bodies and bring them to the surface with care and respect. Their emotions were overwhelming, just like you might feel in this situation. While it is a sad and emotional moment for everyone involved, it also provides closure and peace for the families and friends of the deceased divers. The bodies are transported back to their home countries for proper burial. The recovery operation, led by Patrick, Kai, Vasa, and their diving companions, showcases their unwavering friendship and love for their fallen comrades. It also serves as a stark reminder of the risks and dangers associated with cave diving, emphasizing the importance of proper training, preparation, and caution. Thank you for reaching this far. If you found these tragic stories compelling, don't miss our next video for more risky adventures.